Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back with another set of random encounter ideas that don't suck. Today, the adventuring party is once again sailing the ocean's blue. The dangers are more than a few, so let's see what they'll run into. The party sets sail on their way to the next adventure. The ship pulls out of the harbor and into the open ocean. It's not long, however, before the group runs into their first encounter. Floating several hundred yards off the coast is a dog, quickly tiring as it struggles to stay afloat. If the group goes to the trouble of rescuing the animal and returning it to the port town, then they will meet a very happy young boy. It seems that the dog was swept off the docks by an errant wave, and the family had thought it lost. One evening, the group passes close to another ship, which is painted black and does not have any sources of light on the top deck. This may seem somewhat mysterious to the group, and if they choose to sail closer to the vessel, they may be able to spot some of the ship's crew. They are humanoid in shape, but their skin is gray and decaying, and there is a constant dampness about them, as if they had just emerged from the ocean. If the opposing crew takes notice of the adventurers, the drowned crew will surely attempt to overtake the adventurers' vessel and forsake them to the same damnation that the drowned endure. At some point during their journey, the group will take notice of a prisoner that is being held below the deck of their ship. The prisoner will have a wide variety of stories to tell, and will of course attempt to sway the minds of the party against the crew of the ship. They will repeatedly exclaim that they were innocent of the crimes that put them in the cell. If the group spends some time with the prisoner, or shows them any sort of compassion, then the prisoner may tell the group of their plans to escape. It will be up to your group whether they will help the prisoner, tell the crew, or leave them to their own devices. The group's ship sails within sight of the coast for some time as the journey gets underway. They pass merchant vessels and other smaller vessels until one set of sails on the horizon catches their eye. It is a massive three-masted ship with 16 oars on each side. It sports a thick metal armor which comes to a point at the front of the ship. Unless any of your adventurers hail from the icy coastal regions of your world, then they will probably not recognize this Icebreaker ship. These ships are primarily used by raiders who attack villages on the coasts, but they won't have any issues with using their Icebreaker to ram other ships, if they happen to be in a bad mood. One day, after one of the unavoidable conflicts on the ocean, the group will need to consult their ship's medic. The group will quickly realize that the young man who has been hired as the ship's medic has absolutely no idea what they're doing. The spindly chap bumbles about the infirmary, attempting to stop bleeding and wrap limbs where required. He's not of much use beyond this, however, and none of the dressings fit properly. Perhaps one of your group members with the medicine skill will be able to show him the ropes. A bright sunny morning greets the adventurers as they ascend to the top deck. They quickly note that they are in a very fertile area, as there are flocks of birds, schools of multicolored fish, and groups of small fishing vessels. Many of the old fishermen are welcoming to the outsiders, beckoning them to join in the bounty of the sea. If any of the adventurers approach these fishermen, then they will hear how this place became the best fishing spot in the region almost overnight. Fish suddenly began to appear here, and an entire ecosystem developed around this spot. Unfortunately, it will take a lot of exploring and investigating for the adventurers to come to the correct conclusion about the area. But the reality is that a permanent portal to the elemental plane of water has opened here. Upon discovery, the portal wouldn't support a large creature like a whale, but it is slowly growing, which will leave your adventurers with yet another choice. Also in this area is a large group of Marlin who have also taken notice of the bounty. They twist and turn in the water, hunting the smaller fish with great agility. Of course, just one of these marlin would feed the entire crew of the ship for several days, and landing one would be a good challenge for even the mightiest fisher. There is also a decent chance that a hooked marlin could drag a crew member overboard, exposing them to other dangers. When one of the players chooses to jump into the clear blue waters, they are immediately immersed in a beautiful ecosystem. Multicolored fish dart around huge coral reefs, and the clarity of the water enables the characters to see a fair distance. At one point, they notice an interesting sea snake, ringed with various colors, which help it blend in while it swims near the surface of the water. If any of the characters get too close to this sea snake, then they will discover that this type of snake is incredibly quick to defend itself against predators, mostly through the use of its deadly toxin. If any players are bitten, they will need to make a Constitution saving throw, or become paralyzed for a short period of time. A paralyzed swimming character will likely sink straight to the bottom of the ocean, and, unless they can move very quickly underwater, they will probably drown as a result. I recommend giving your players adequate cues as to the defensive nature of this sea snake before exposing them to the vicious toxin. While the group is enjoying and exploring this bountiful area of the sea, they may run into another of the region's denizens. A group of deep scions also inhabit this area, making it ready for the return of their master. Deep scions are incredibly crafty creatures who possess two different forms, their humanoid shape and a human-fish hybrid form. These creatures were once humanoids who surrendered their bodies to a greater aquatic power. In this case, the aquatic power is a Kraken. These unfortunate souls have had their bodies mutated into this new form, as they search for more victims to sacrifice to their masters. If the group does not deal with this aquatic threat, then it will continue to grow until the fateful day when the Kraken is able to cross into this realm from the elemental plane of water. Later in their underwater travels, the group will stumble upon a large entrance to an underground passage. Any character who treads within 30 feet of the entrance will be forced to make a wisdom saving throw or become transfixed on making it to the center of this passage. Upon entering, the group finds a labyrinth of interconnected passages which wind their way toward a central point. If the characters are still under the influence of the lair, then they will swim directly to the center, where a large aberration with a wide mouth or beak, spindly lobster-like legs, and 8 octopus-like tentacles awaits them. The Morkoth is an incredibly dangerous evil entity and the owner of this lair. It will utilize its hypnotic abilities to devour the characters as quickly as possible. The group will need to escape its hypnosis in order to speak with it, much less to defeat it. And that brings us to the end of today's Ocean Encounters. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to smash that subscribe button. If you have ideas or requests for future videos, I'd love to read about them in the comments section below. Until next time, be well, be excellent to one another, and stay curious, adventurers.